the more time passes by, and the more we transition from a life in nature to life in the cities and suburbs, the more our nutrition changes. Needless to say, when you make changes to what you do multiple times a day, like eating, there are physiological changes that occur. The Western diet is characterized by the high intake of processed meats, ultra-processed foods, sugary drinks, and even high fructose corn syrup. As you may guess, most of these foods are products that focus on satisfying your desire for taste rather than keeping you satiated and provide you with good nutrition. The majority of foods in the Western diet lack nutrition, thus they're suboptimal for your health. The structure, balance, and composition of some of the most essential nutrients for your body have been fundamentally altered by processing. More foods and food processing methods were introduced and implemented during the Neolithic and industrial periods. In this video, I'm going to explain the dangers of the typical Western diet and what you can do to overcome them. But first, if we're just meeting, my name is Amy, and I'm an ISSA certified elite trainer, specialist in strength and conditioning, as well as a precision nutrition certified nutrition coach and a PSA ranked and rated figure skating coach. I work with people just like you to help them create change and get real results. Let's first talk about the dangers of the Western diet. Researchers found that consuming a typical Western diet for just 1 week can impair brain function and lead to overeating as well as binging. And guess what else? Those effects were observed in otherwise healthy people with no bad habits and a tight, fit body composition overall. Again, in just 7 days, the highly processed fat and sugar in the Western diet substantially impacted their memory. And again, that's only in just 1 week. So can you imagine what happens when you eat a typical Western diet for weeks, months, or even years? Most people do this. Furthermore, the volunteers, all of which were in their 20s, reported that they started preferring the junk food-based diet over whole foods. The conclusion of the scientists in this study was that the Western diet actually makes it more difficult for people to regulate their appetite. This is perhaps because of the diet's effect on the hippocampus. No, not hippopotamus, hippocampus. This is the part of our brain that regulates memory, and it's also involved with utilizing hunger cues. Richard Stevenson, a psychology professor from Sydney, states the following: after just a short period of eating a Western-based diet, the tastier junk foods become the preferred option, even after you've already had a meal. Have you had that happen to you? He continued, this makes it harder to resist those foods, making you eat more and inevitably creating a vicious cycle of overeating and excessive calorie consumption. Recent studies have linked Western diets with increased risk of colon and prostate cancer. Men eating a mostly Western diet were found to have 2.5 times the risk of dying from prostate cancer, while the risks associated with colon cancer, again, linked back to inflammation and a change of activity in gut bacteria. By the way, gut bacteria, I have a whole video about it. There's a link to that in the description down below. But wait, there's more. The Western diet is also associated with an increased incidence of chronic kidney disease. It's known that a combination of nutrients typical for this diet contributes to impaired renal and inflammation, hypertension, and dysfunctional renal hormone regulation. A study has shown that stereotypical Western diets are responsible for more deaths around the world than smoking and high blood pressure. Around a fifth of all the deaths around the world can be attributed to unhealthy eating, which is a significant driver of heart disease, cancer, and diabetes. The analysis comparing diet, deaths, and disease rates across 195 countries found that bad dietary habits are increasingly present because of changing habits, leading to more meat eating and fewer vegetable staples, along with tons of fast food being available. In 2017, poor diet was responsible for 11 million deaths, or 22% of the total recorded deaths worldwide. In comparison, smoking tobacco was associated with 8 million, and high blood pressure was responsible for just over 10 million. A breakdown of the analysis showed that low intake of whole grains, fruits, coupled with high sodium consumption, accounted for more than half of diet-related deaths. The rest were attributed to a high consumption of red and processed meats, sugar-sweetened drinks, and other unhealthy foods, including those that contained trans fatty acids. The vast majority of diet-related deaths were due to heart disease, followed by cancers and type 2 diabetes. Poor diet also caused a considerable burden of disability. The researchers reported this in the Lancet journal. So how do you regulate your appetite? Throughout human existence, our bodies have seen long periods of scarcity. So this made the body create specific mechanisms which allow us to slow down the metabolism and survive with less food. These are the so-called metabolic adaptations, which the body knows how to utilize because it knows that lack of food is possible. However, the opposite isn't valid. Throughout human history, we've never had such an abundance of foods as we do now. It has only been a couple of decades since we've had easy access to food and many newly introduced processed foods. Because it's only been a couple of decades, the body has not yet had the chance to adapt to this. So we don't have weight gain regulation mechanisms like we do with weight loss regulation mechanisms. So this is why so many people gain excess weight, which is also the exact reason why most people in the US are overweight and obese. However, there are two things you can do. Both of these things are linked to making nutritional choices. So let's see what you can actually do. Number one, eat grass-fed meats and organic poultry. Though nowadays, food is often a type of recreation and something to enjoy, food is meant for survival, and it has been for most of the human existence. We just didn't have such an abundance of products easily available to us as we do now. So we used to naturally look for the most satiating foods that can keep us full for the longest amount of time. Guess which foods these are? That's right, animal foods. Generally, suppose you want to minimize the chance of overeating and binging on junk food. In doing so, however, you will need to choose quality meats. I have other videos on these topics. There's a link to all of them in the description down below. I also do unboxings of the quality grass-fed and organic meats and poultry and wild-caught seafood that I get from companies like Seven Sons, Proud Cow, and The Butcher Box. There are links to these two in the description down below. Number two, eat fruits and vegetables. Fruits and vegetables may not provide much in the way of protein, but they do contain a high amount of fiber. In other words, they take up a lot of space in your stomach. Including fruits and vegetables in your nutrition will keep you fuller much longer. On top of that, replacing processed foods that have added sugar with fruit is one of the best choices you can make for your health. The more you do this, the sweeter the taste of fruits will actually become. At one point, I promise you, you will actually prefer a mango or a pineapple over candy. You will. Last but not least, you can also make use of potatoes. And sweet potatoes are really great. Though they do not contain substantial amounts of proteins or fat, potatoes can keep you feeling fuller the longest. Next time you have a steak with mashed potatoes, add some vegetables too. I like to put cauliflower in my mashed potatoes and see how that helps you stay full. But always use organic potatoes that you make from scratch. Don't use the ones that come in a box that's highly processed or anything from the freezer section. I bet you won't even think about binging on junk food. Here's my conclusion for you. The typical Western diet contains many processed foods. Sugars, processed fats, fizzy drinks, and deep fried foods. These foods lack nutrients and they're unable to provide you with the essential nutrients that your body needs and negatively affects your ability to feel full. Really bad thing is that your brain is going to get hooked on them, making them a priority choice because of their addictive taste. But what you can do is focus on nutrient-dense, satiating foods and place them at the core of your nutrition plan. This doesn't really mean you should totally exclude your favorite foods. It only means you should have the balance in favor of those nutrient-dense foods that will make you feel satiated. Eat foods that keep you feeling fuller longer, and your body's gonna thank you. If you found this video helpful, please give it a like. And if you think it could help someone else, share it with them and just share it on your social media too. And remember, I post at least 3 videos a week that can help you live a better life. So remember to subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss a video. This is Amy. Thank you for watching. I will see you real soon. Bye.